Hello, everyone. This video is connected to my puppy training program. I have a 3-week board and train puppy training program, and this video is to keep the puppies successfully learning and growing when they get home. So you can see that I have two puppies here. I have Nellie, and I also have little Chubba, okay? And so these puppies are going to go home. Chubba is going to go home in a couple weeks. And so this video is what to do after graduation. Okay. So first, I want to talk about the training philosophy that we used here during the board and train. We use operant conditioning. And so the two main training styles today are positive reinforcement and operant conditioning. So operant conditioning uses a lot of positive reinforcement. Most of it is positive reinforcement, but there is some punishment, albeit mild. For a puppy, it's nothing more than a loud voice. That's all the correction you need for a small puppy. I never had to do anything more than raise my voice and this puppy redirect. Okay, so um, positive reinforcement is great, but if it worked, there wouldn't be a need for operant conditioning. So let me give you an example. If you have a 2-year-old child, you use a combination of rewards. If you clean your room, you will get an Xbox or something, or your favorite candy. And if you don't clean your room, you might have you might not get that favorite TV show this weekend. Okay, so you use both. You have consequences for bad behavior and consequences for good behavior, rewards. So this is the healthy way to do this. If you just do positive reinforcement, you will find behavioral issues. The most common one is what I call princess syndrome, where puppies come to me, young dogs, and I call them princess because they've never been told no ever. So they do whatever they want, and it becomes very difficult to manage that behavior. So the good news is that a puppy like little Chubba here doesn't need uh, anything. I've never had to put this puppy in a timeout. I only raise my voice to let it know, hey, don't do that. That's the correction. That's the entire correction. So don't be afraid to raise your voice and say, don't do that if it's important, if it's a big rule, okay? Because that's a big part of this training, okay? No loudly is the number one tool I have. Shouting no, right? Because my body language and my tone of voice is telling the dog, oh, I know you don't like that. That's the whole function of, because imagine you have a 2-year-old child and it's got a fork and it's about to stick it into the electrical outlet. You go positive only. You can only use positive training. You have a cookie. You go, come here, little Bobby. Don't play with that. That's not safe. Come over here. Well, what if little Bobby just had breakfast? He's not hungry. What if he doesn't like that cookie? Or most likely, what if the fork and the outlet just seem more interesting to him? Now, positive reinforcement is going to fail you in that situation. And what you need is, Bobby, don't do that. You see that energy? So Bobby go, right? Yell, yell, because you're saving that child's life. Yell. It's okay to yell. But a big part of operant conditioning is this. Let's say a dog's rough play and it's not pleasant and it's obviously a problem. It's pre-aggressive, okay? Well, I'm going to yell, no. When I do that to this little puppy, Chubba, I say no, because sometimes I've seen Chubba nipping, just nipping the other dogs. I go, no, right? Chubba immediately stop. Stop. It's done. We're done. Done. But if another puppy or another younger dog were to do that and not stop when I say, that dog gets a timeout. Okay. So the timeout is 5 minutes in a crate. Okay. What that's doing is when that dog was rough play, its adrenaline was way high. 5 minutes in the crate, take the adrenaline down to this. I unlock the crate. Never hold a grudge. I'm playful with the dog, letting know everything is good. Everything is good. That reassurance matters big. So you have to make the dog understand that the behavior is not welcome, but the dog is always loved and can trust you. You know you did it wrong if when you say come and the dog goes the other way, you broke the trust, you broke the bond, you were too firm. You scared the dog and it's still scared is what I'm trying to say. Don't let the dog remain afraid of you. When you shout and then you're putting the dog in the crate, 5 minutes you're holding the dog and you're reassuring the dog, okay, that it's just the behavior that you don't like, but you love the dog. Okay, so your two most important tools when you get this puppy home is your voice and your body language, because it doesn't speak English. So, but it does speak shout, because other dogs bark, right? Dogs bark and they also growl. Don't they growl? If the mother dog and the puppy was nipping on its face, what would the mom do? Arr. Well, that's a growl. So that's all I'm doing. No, I'm growling, I'm barking. Okay. And that's what they understand. And your body language has to match the seriousness of the rule and the voice. It has to match. You can't just shout and you have to be shout, smack your hands, blah, blah, make loud, right? Make it match the rule that got broken. In other words, a small little rule, I go, no, 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 that's not a big deal. A big rule broken? No, no, right? And so they go, whoa, he just really doesn't like it when you pee in that. If I catch the dog, puppy, peeing in the house, no, and and they'll run outside and pee where they're supposed to pee. That means they learned don't pee in the house. They learned that right there. So that's all it took was a loud voice at the right time. Okay, so that redirect, that is your two most important tools, your body language and your voice, okay? For serious misbehavior, the timeout. That's when they're not listening to you when you yell no and they're still doing it. No, they have to have a timeout because they're just too worked up. They are too adrenalized. They have to take it down for 5 minutes. Okay, so regarding housebreaking and cleaning up, okay, for accidents, I use Lysol. That's because it's effective at killing the smell of the pee and the poo. So when I come in, I want to smell either Lysol or nothing. When I come into the room, I can instantly tell, even if a tiny poo or a tiny pee, I smell it because the Lysol kills everything. So the smell, so that someone pooed. Okay, I know exactly. I can even tell how big is poo because how strong is the smell, right? So this is important because if your house smells like a toilet because the puppy's been peeing and pooing, it's going to assume that it's okay to pee and poo in here. And so that's why this Lysol thing is important. Now, if you have carpet, that's the worst floor surface for puppies or any dog, because when they pee there or poo there, it's very difficult to remove the smell completely. It's a big hassle. It's expensive to carpet cleaner. So your next floor probably should go with a hard surface. And if you have rugs, you should probably replace them with something that's easier to clean, like a matte surface that's easier to clean for accidents. Okay, I'm not saying your dog will have accidents. I'm saying that all dogs, I mean, even adult dogs sometimes have accidents. They can get sick or just okay. So the carpet is a problem. It holds the smell of pee and poo, and so that's not a good floor surface. Okay. Okay. How did I housebreak your puppy? Okay, what I did was I made it super easy for the puppy to go pee outside. Super easy. I have a doggy door. I have a fenced yard. So, and every hour I'm taking the puppy physically. If it's not walking with me, I'm picking it up and taking it outside where I just stand out there and wait for her to poo or pee. So, also, my adult dogs, the dog sitting dogs plus my personal dogs, they do this same exact pattern. So your puppy is a pack animal. So it watched my dogs go outside and poo, and it smelled them pee in the yard. So it peed in the yard. And every single time the puppy pees in the yard, I say, good boy, go pee pee, right? Go pee, go poo. And so those become triggers so that when you stand outside with your puppy, you just say, go poo, go pee. It will remember when I said it. So that's the, okay. So then when you're outside, don't startle the puppy when it's doing the act. Because if you say something, you don't want to wait until it's already finishing the act. Okay, when it's almost done, then you just gently, good boy, go pee pee. Nothing alarming like rule violation. No, no, just nice and soft. Good boy, go pee pee. Good boy. And I praise the adult dogs also because the puppy's watching. So when the puppy watches the adult dog pee, I go, good boy, Rex, go pee. The puppy's like, okay, I'm understanding. We all pee out here, right? Okay, so some of you are going to say, I don't have a doggy door. Okay, Amazon sells these inserts that go into a sliding glass door. These inserts require no tools at all. It's just a spring. They're made for your glass slider door, and you just pop them in. Now there's a doggy door. And I even got the nice one. It's called Tough Weather Doggy Door. It has an extra insulated double flap to keep the cold out. Okay, so doggy door makes life incredibly simple for the dog, has access. When the dog thinks, I have to pee, there's the door, there's the fenced yard. You just shoot straight through, okay? And so ease of access is what we're trying to accomplish. Now, if you don't have a fenced yard, well, your puppy is a puppy. So they have these do-it-yourself garden fences that they come with spikes that you could just shove them in the ground and make yourself a 10-foot by 10-foot space by the door so the puppy can go outside and poo and pee. And that's that's where it's going to go poo and pee. So the more barriers you have to uh, ease of access to housebreaking, the more problems you're going to have. So I highly recommend the doggy door. I I recommend the Amazon Pet Safe uh, slider, the sliding door insert for an instant doggy door. Okay, and then also those types of fences that if you don't have a fenced yard, but you should at least make a garden fence area that the puppy can safely go outside and pee. Okay. Okay. Now, going back to this housebreaking thing, if you have an access problem, that's not the same as a training problem. Where these puppies, I don't let them go home unless they know to pee outside. That would be irresponsible. If this dog is still having accidents in my home, I would tell you, hey, we need to extend the training by a week. This dog is, every puppy that leaves my house is housebroken. It knows how to go through my doggy door to a fenced yard and pee and poo. And so that's important to understand. If you're having difficulties, it's access. So if your dog is like, how do I get outside to pee? Do I have to wake up my master? Do I have to bark? Most common one, they'll stand by the door, but there's no doggy door and there's no one to see them, and they'll poop right next to the door. And that's your clue that they knew they were supposed to go outside, but this is an access problem, not a training problem, because the dog went, it did its best. Okay, so make it easy as possible to go in and out. Okay, so the next thing I want to explain to you is, you guys have all heard of clicker training, right? It's all the rage. It's the new fad. Okay, so clicker training is this: when you give a dog a treat, you press a clicker, clicker. You give him another treat, clicker. Give him another treat, clicker. Now you don't have to give them treats. You can just say sit, clicker, sit, clicker, roll over, click. Okay, there's two problems with clicker training. One, you don't always have a clicker on you, okay? I mean, even if I was a trainer, I would still have to reach in my pocket, pull out that click, okay? That takes time. And that moment of instant reward is lost because you took too long. So some people have the clicker on an app on their phone. It's also foolish because now I'm still fumbling with the phone, I have to find the app. It's not practical. So I replaced the sound of a clicker with the word good. Good boy, good girl, good boy, good girl. You hear that throughout the training, and that's just part of that's my reward system. Good boy, good girl. So that takes the place of the clicker sound because I always have my voice and I can say it instantly as soon as they're good. And I can say good boy with an emotional or volume that says good boy for something real good, where a clicker is just a neutral. It's just that same click. I could say good boy or good boy, you know. So that is the clicker training, is good boy, good girl. Always reward your puppy when it sits or comes. Good boy, good girl. Okay, so that is replacing, when you hear that, good boy, good girl, that is that's positive reinforcement that you should be doing to communicate that the puppy is doing the right thing. For example, when you see the puppy peeing outside, you wait till they're done and you say, good girl, go pee. That's important. You say it softly like that, gently, but reassuring, you're doing fantastic. Because look at the energy on my face. They can read that. Good girl, good boy, because I truly am happy that you're peeing outside instead of my home. Show that emotion. Show that. At the same time, if you pee in my home, why are you doing like that? Not funny though, because if you laugh at bad behavior, it could stick. For example, a dog that jumps up on you, if you ever go, he, the dog thinks, oh, I'm making the person laugh, so I'm going to keep doing it. So no laughter. That's why I mentioned body language. It has to match. You can't laugh and then be unhappy with the behavior because those are two conflicting emotions. So be clear that when you don't like a behavior, show it with body language and voice. And when you got good behavior, reward with, all right, good voice, pick that puppy up and give it some affection to show it did good. Okay? Okay. Maintaining the training. Okay. I used to speak excellent Spanish, okay? But since I moved to Michigan, I haven't spoken Spanish in 15 years. I must have forgot half of the language. Well, that same thing happens to puppies. So if you don't practice sit, stay, come, down, no, go pee, if you don't practice these commands, they will forget them and they will get rusty and then poor performance of commands. So practice daily, especially now that the puppy just graduated, but practice regularly so they don't forget it. Okay? Okay. Sometimes people say, hey, I'm walking my puppy and it's not walking as good as when it was in your videos. Okay. For puppies that, like my little Chubba here, Chubba's probably 7 pounds. Okay, very small puppy. I had no need to use a prong collar. But what if this puppy was 30 pounds and one of those stubborn breeds like a husky, or not stubborn, but just a pulling breed? Some breeds pull much more than others. German Shepherd, Husky, certain breeds pull really hard on that leash. And I use a prong collar. A prong collar, it has a bad reputation, but I don't know why, because I never seen a single dog injured on a prong collar. But I've seen many dogs injured with regular collar. They get throat damage where they start making noises, right? And the choke chain is a horrible one because it does choke, right? But the prong collar has an adapter that only allows it to close this much. It can't go beyond that. Also, the pressure points are such that it can't do any. You could hurt the dog if you were intentionally uh, misusing the prong collar, but the reality is this: the dog will feel the pressure and not pull. Feel the pressure, not pull. Feel the and so that's what the magic was I was using the appropriate collar, and I highly recommend that if you have a dog who's pulling on the leash, get the prong collar. Uh, yes, it works. And here's the good news about the prong collar: you only need to use it as long as the dog is pulling. So if you do this in the young stage of a dog's life, within 6 months, you may remove the urge to pull completely by using the prong collar. If you skip the prong collar and now the dog's 2 years old, whatever leash walking skills that dog has, probably going to stay there the rest of its life. It's very difficult to train a dog past that 2 year mark for something as for something like pulling on the leash. So my advice is to use the prong collar as long as you need it. It doesn't have to become permanent, but sometimes, like my dog Nina, come here. This dog came from the shelter. She's a wonderful dog. She's my best friend, but she pulls crazy. I use the prong collar all the time. You see her in the morning videos every morning. You see Nina, and yeah, she pulls, okay? But she uses the prong, and that's how we get through it. And there's no way that I'm going to ever untrain that out of her. The appropriate time to do that was 8 weeks, 10 weeks of age. She's 5 or 6 now. She's this is who she is. That's okay. I'm just saying that if I use that prong collar on my own dog, you can, and if you have any questions about using the prong collar, you can always text me. For that or any other behavioral issues, you can text me and just ask what's going on. Okay. All right. One thing I want to mention, okay, is high energy puppies. Okay. If you have one, you know what I'm talking about. They are the kind that are doing zooms all over your house. Zoom, 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 zoom. And running around and just barking and causing, and just, they don't have an off switch, okay? You have a high energy breed, okay? Or a high energy puppy. Okay, that type of dog needs a lot of stimulation. And if you're working and the worst thing you could do is keep that dog in a crate 8 hours a day, because it's going crazy with energy, and it's really, I've seen them just destroy a crate to get out because they're just, okay. So my advice for those dogs is doggy daycare. Now, because you're a graduate of the puppy training program, if you're local, talk to me. Let's set up a discount rate, because I truly want your puppy to not be destroying your house. So a couple times a week, the puppy comes here for doggy daycare. We walk the puppy, we play, it gets stimulated, socialized, and then it goes home and it sleeps that night. Everyone says after the dog comes to my home and they go home, they sleep because it's mentally stimulating. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's other dogs, and there's walks, and there's toys, and there's a lot of activity, that as opposed to being at home with nothing, okay? So yes, it's very healthy, and they will benefit greatly from doggy daycare. Okay, the next concept is bad weather dogs. Okay, what's a bad weather dog? Okay, see this little puppy, Chubba. Okay, Chubba is has yet to see a major storm. Okay, but let's imagine that it's raining really hard, lightning, thunder. Okay, and now I'm expecting the puppy to go out there and pee and poo in that. The puppy thinks like this: maybe if I just wait, I'm just going to hold it and wait for the weather to improve. But that's a racing. You may lose that race. Okay. So what happens is the puppy ends up holding it for the weather to improve, and it just goes in your house eventually. So to remedy this, I have a deck outside, and there's a roof, a pavilion roof. So that protects that area from snow and hard rains. Usually I will wait until there's a break in the storm. Like, okay, high levels of snow come down a little bit, and I clock, okay, when was the last time they went outside? And then okay, this looks like the storm slowed down a little bit. I'll go out under the pavilion, okay? And then they can safely pee and poo without being stormed on. As soon as I see that poo and pee, I'm all, okay, let's go back in. So that's the remedy for bad weather dogs, is you still have to take them outside because, okay? So yeah, you want to create a similar sheltered spot. Some area, maybe you have a tree in your yard that has enough cover that it's not rain and snow, that would work. Maybe the overhang of your home, if there's certain, but you have to find a spot where they're not getting slammed by the rain or the snow. Otherwise, and another thing too about bad weather dogs is I've seen them, sometimes it seems like they're unable to pee when it's super cold. You know, in Michigan, we can go 5 below, okay? And you see them wanting to go, but it's so cold that, so in those situations, you need sweaters and jackets, okay? You need sweaters and jackets on those cold days. Sometimes if I see a puppy struggling, I'll put 2 sweaters on, okay? Because you're not going to get good housebreaking if you don't keep that puppy warm where it feels comfortable going outside, okay? Okay, to all my graduating puppy clients, I'd love to become your go-to dog sitter. I know there's a lot of competition out there, and you may not live as close to me as is convenient. Your first puppy stay with me is 50% off. That could be a day or a week, however long you need the puppy to be watched. This is a perfect time for us to fine tune the behavior. So you can tell me how the puppy's behaving at home, and we can fine tune that behavior and address any problems that are present. Okay, so yes, I want to earn your business as your dog sitter. Okay, congratulations on your puppy being successfully trained, and you can always reach me by text if you have any questions. I hope I answered them all. Thank you for bearing through this long video, and best of luck with your happy, healthy puppy.